Welcome to the 16th lesson of SmartKnitter, Knit Instructions Level 2. In this class, we will explain the uses of zone. Let's look at the first example. In this panel, we have 4 colors that are knitted individually. When knitting color individually, we have to section each color into a different zone. There are 6 sections in the panel. Click Feeder Setup. Right-click on alternate zones in the same horizontal section and set the property to knit this zone individually. Here we set zone 2 and 4 to be knitting individually. Translate to see the machine code. The zones will be knitted individually, as in partial knitting, but without the need to draw in short rows. Let's move on to the next example. Fully fashioned buttonholes are knitted with separate zones method as well. On the right navigator menu, toggle to zone mode. Select a section with even number of rows for guidance. Then select the number of rows that matches the size of your buttonhole. This needs to be an even number of row counts as well. Change the zone color to a distinct and use color. Extend the first and last row of the zone to the end of the panel. This is to ensure the yarn end would be at the seam side, not the placket side. Select the repeat of zones. Use the repeat tool to drag to the top of the panel. Return to Knit Structure Mode 1. Select the entire canvas and translate. Drag the new feeder to a new spot and check the end left to ensure the feeder enters the knitting area from the left side. Set the property to Partial Knit Feeder. Translate. You can see feeder 4 knits the buttonhole rows independently without tucks to link the zones together. After knitting each buttonhole, feeder 4 will knit back to the left side of the panel. Let's move on to the next example. In this panel, color gray is knitting single jersey and color pink and yellow are knitting tubular. Use a regular selection tool to select the color gray area. Toggle to zone mode and change the zone color to another unused zone color. Change the right side of the tubular section to another unused zone color. Separate the tubular section into 2 zones in order to use 2 sets of feeders, so no floats will be knitted in the single jersey section. Select the whole canvas and translate. The right side pink color feeder is set to feeder slot 5 with yarn end set to right. The left side pink color feeder to feeder slot 4 with yarn end set to left. The yellow and gray color feeders are all set to a single slot at 3. Right-click on the zones to set the jacquard backing to tubular backing. Click Confirm and translate. You can see the middle sections is in single jersey and 2 sides are in tubular jacquard. Next example. This panel has partial knitting on 2 sides to create a shorter center and longer sides. After translation, there are many tucks and floats in the middle. This is because we have used the same feeder on both sides for partial knitting. Back to SmartGraph. Let's assign another zone color to the partial knitting sections. Also, we need to set a new zone color for the Revell yarn sections on the right side. Click Feeder Setup. The right side partial knit sections and the Revell yarn sections are set to the 4th slot with yarn end set to the right side. The left side sections and Revell yarns are set to slot 3. Remember to set the feeder property to partial knit feeder. Now the partial knitting is done correctly. In the next example, there is a vertical column of single jacquard in the center of the sleeve. After translation, we can see that there is a lot of tucks and floats in the panel. Let's make some adjustment in SmartGraph to fix this. Change the zone color of the single jersey section to an unused color. Assign a new zone to the right side of the sleeve as well. Go to Feeder Setup and place the new feeder for the green to slot 4 and the feeder for gray to slot 3. Remember to select the jacquard backing in the center section. Translate again. We can see the feeders run correctly. In this example, this panel has 1 by 1 half cardigan filled. Let's translate and examine the problem. As there is a section of short rows in the center, but the feeders knits the entire row directly, this would create a long float on the panel. Back to SmartGraph. Change the right side of the short row sections to another zone color. Set the new feeder property to partial knit feeder. Translate again, and we can see the feeder 3 does the knitting as if in partial knitting. In the last example, this is a bird's eye jacquard pattern. For a better result, we would like to have 2 stitches of single jersey on the sides. Let's go back to SmartGraph and make some edits. Go to Zone Mode, change the 2-stitch width edge to another zone color 3. Translate again. You can see that both sides are knitting single jersey, resulting in a smoother edge on the fabric, and the single jersey naturally curls back. This marks the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching.